Good morning everyone, and this morning we're being a little bit nostalgic because what I have to my left here is a very early Diesel Pump UK quick spool valve design. And this setup that I'd built for a customer back in 2014 is back with us. To cut a long story short, the customer bought this setup and a pump and some other bits and pieces off us, and I think he overestimated his abilities, shall we say, and the project never materialised. This was going to go into an Ultra 4 vehicle, I think, and it just didn't happen. I think that the fabrication challenges that he came up against was a bit much. Anyway, because of the limitations I had back then, I only had TIG welding and fabricating facilities, I had to fabricate something to act as a quick spool valve to get this big turbo spinning. The customer had said to me he wanted big horsepower, 500-600 horsepower, but he wanted it to spool quite quick. And I kind of said to him, no, that's not going to be possible. He insisted that's what he wanted, so I decided to create the first ever quick spool valve. Well, my first ever quick spool valve. There may have been quick spool valves before it. And have a look how I did it. So what we did is I fabricated this stainless manifold. Again, it was before billet things. And then I made this block that went in between here, this stainless block. And basically inside that block, there's an angular piece welded in. And it diverts all of this gas into one side of the turbo. Let me think which way around this goes. Yeah, I think it is that side. Yeah, so it has a blade like that inside, solid, permanently fixed, and it diverts all the gas into this side of the turbo to make it spool up fast. Now, as soon as the turbo starts to make boost, this wastegate opens and it allows gas to pass round this pipe here, along here, look, obviously through the wastegate, and then into the other side of the valve and up the other scroll of the turbo. So basically, that is obviously what we're trying to achieve, the same as what the original, same as what the current quick spool valve does, but obviously I didn't have the abilities to make this giant billet valve body and water-cooled awesomeness, so that was my very early attempt. Anyway, the customer who bought this didn't understand that at all. Well, it was a combination of him not understanding it and also someone I think worked for him didn't understand it. And there was multiple phone calls when he received it saying, this don't make any sense, the wastegate's supposed to get rid of the exhaust gas. And I'm saying, no, it's not acting as a wastegate, it's acting as a diverter for the quick spool system. Completely over his head, he didn't get it. But this is also nostalgic because this was, again, this actual whole thing, it was one of my encounters with my first, I would say, difficult customer. And I'll show you, the difficult bit is on the other side. So when I did the deal with this guy, when we originally set this up, we offered to build in the manifold, the turbo setup and everything. And we also said to him, I have a pump that's coming off. It was the White Pig, if you remember the W124. Now, that car suffered really badly with jerking, and we were trying many different things with Goran diesel mechan to resolve the jerking issues that we were having. So we were building pumps that were only staying on the car for weeks, power tested, test driven, and then I was selling them on as part used pumps, to other people that wouldn't be putting them in something that would jerk, maybe an automatic vehicle or something like that. We were constantly testing these pumps, testing the modifications that had been done to them, to see if they were jerking. And the other thing that we were constantly testing on the dyno was we had this early fuel pressure issue situation with the diesel mechan 8mm pumps where you needed 3 bar of inlet pressure to actually make any horsepower. It was due to the inlet hole being too low in the barrel. The cylinder didn't come down far enough to actually open the hole fully, I believe. If Goran will correct me, but I think that was the issue. And everybody took it for granted that it was fine to put 3 bar pressure into the pump, and I was like, hang on a minute, no, it's not fine. Other manufacturers of pumps only need a bar to be making more horsepower. Anyway, Goran was quite receptive about it, and between us, well, he changed the design, I tested it, made sure it all worked. Anyway, so this was one of those test pumps. And this is what it looked like. This engine's barely even been used, this pump's just been installed. This black that you can see here is actually paint. The core that I sent to Goran had paint on it, and that is literally how it came back. I mean, you can see, look, this is not fictitious, all the yellow dots and everything are still on there. You can see the stainless is all, that is exactly how it came. It's clean, it's just not clean, if that makes sense. Anyway, regardless of this fact, I sent that pump to the customer and I made a big mistake. When I packaged it, I didn't block all the holes up in the front of the pump, and it had a little bit of oil residue in it. So when it arrived at the customer's door, he opened the box, straight away this guy rang me up and he's like, this pump's 100 years old, it's covered in black oil, and he sent me a photo and it did look bad, it was covered in oil. I said, don't worry, just clean the oil off it, it's got a lifetime warranty, it's absolutely fine, just use it. You're trying to con me. Anyway, and this man was getting more and more agitated on the phone, like, and I'm trying to calm him down and say, well, you know, I'll swap it, we'll do whatever. No, I don't want anything off you. You know, what did he say? I don't want anything off you, you're just trying to con me and all this. So I was like in a lose-lose situation. Anyway, by the end of that evening, the guy had posted on all the forums and he got his mates to post on the forums and say how that he'd been conned, say that he'd been conned out of this pump, and oh man. The controversy involved in the pumps is quite hilarious. This is one of the reasons we ended up building our own, just because of the shuttling back and forth and being able to sort the situation, and we had control on whether they were clean or not. Or anyway, but the point of the matter is, it's back. So if you would like this famous pump, if you would like to buy this famous diesel Mechan 8mm, I can't remember if it is actually one of the revised ones. No, it's an LF2, so this one does require higher fuel input pressure to make anything over about 450 horsepower. You need 3 bar of inlet pressure into it. But it still carries the lifetime Goran warranty. It still looks really dirty, but I assure you that is exactly how it's always been, and there's nothing wrong with it, it works perfectly well. And also, if you fancy yourself a vintage Diesel Pump UK quick spool manifold and stainless setup with an S300 turbo, then that's going to be coming off also, because I need to strip all this off. This engine's getting fully stripped down and built into one of my crate engines very shortly, and this is kind of surplus to requirements. Well, I hope you enjoyed a little bit of nostalgia. Oh, should we just put the knife into this guy a little bit more before we end? This man who was extremely capable of criticising not only my work, but he also said that he was going to copy the Merlot load-all himself, as in a tractor. This is his fabrication work. Bearing in mind he was going to copy a Merlot load-all 4x4. This is some of the fabrication work that it came back with. I thought this was awesome. Can you imagine? Look, like that is literally loose. You could like push that off with your finger, and that was attached between there and there. That's the intercooler, and this. I don't know. There's so much good stuff. This. What is this? Is this an old shelf leg that's been welded to the top of a bit of? That's amazing. That's amazing. If I was the person that had made this, I would be the first person to criticise things like this and things like that pump. Built by two sort of experts. Bye for now. Have a great morning.